There was a moment in human history when the entire earth spoke with one voice, one language, one vision, one ambition. The ground trembled with innovation, bricks burned in fire, and a tower began to rise toward the heavens. Humanity was united, energized, unstoppable. It was the birth of civilization at full strength, but it was also the unveiling of a dangerous secret in the human heart. Genesis 11 is not merely the story of a tower. It is the story of a generation that discovered its power and forgot its God. The Bible tells us in the book of Genesis that the whole earth was of one language and one speech. As people journeyed, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They learned to make brick and burned them thoroughly. They advanced technologically. They organized. They strategized. And then they said something that revealed everything. Let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered. That statement exposes the heart of Babel. This was not about architecture. It was about ambition. It was not about height. It was about identity. They were not simply trying to build upward. They were trying to establish independence from God. Let use make us a name. In other words, we will define ourselves. We will secure ourselves. We will establish our own greatness. But God had already instructed humanity to fill the earth, to spread, to multiply, to steward creation under His authority. Babel was a direct resistance to that command. They feared being scattered, so they centralized. They feared obscurity, so they pursued fame. They feared dependence, so they chose self-exaltation. And then something astonishing happened. The Lord came down. Man was trying to ascend to heaven, yet heaven came down to evaluate man's work. God observed their unity and acknowledged something powerful. Because they were one people with one language, nothing they imagined would be restrained from them. This reveals a profound truth. Unity is powerful. Agreement multiplies ability. Collective vision accelerates progress. But unity without God becomes dangerous power. So God confounded their language. Suddenly, the same mouths that once spoke in agreement could no longer understand each other. Vision fractured. Communication broke. The tower stopped. They were scattered across the earth. The place was called Babel, confusion. This was not merely judgment. It was mercy. God interrupted a unified rebellion before it could mature into something far more destructive. Sometimes divine disruption is protection. Now consider our present generation. For the first time since Babel, humanity is functionally united again. Technology has created a global language. Through the internet, translation software, media systems, and artificial intelligence, the world communicates instantly. Cultures merge. Economies connect. Ideas spread in seconds. We are building digital towers, systems, networks, structures of influence that span the earth. And once again, the anthem of our age echoes. Let us make us a name. We live in a culture obsessed with self-branding, personal platforms, influence, and visibility. Identity is curated. Fame is pursued. Humanity believes it can engineer solutions for everything, morality, destiny, even life itself, often without reference to God. The spirit of Babel is not ancient. It is modern. It is sophisticated. It is online. But here is the deeper contrast. In the book of Acts at Pentecost, there were many languages, yet one Spirit united the hearts of the people. At Babel, there was one language, but divided hearts lifted in pride. At Pentecost, there were many languages, but hearts united in surrender. Babel was unity around self-glory. Pentecost was unity around God's glory. That is the dividing line for our generation. God is not threatened by human progress. He is not intimidated by innovation. What he confronts is pride, the attempt to build a future that excludes him. Every system, constructed on self-exaltation, eventually collapses under its own weight. But what God builds endures. The story of Babel forces us to ask a personal question. What are we building? A name for ourselves or a legacy that honors God? Are we climbing towers of ambition or walking in obedience? Because the same God who came down to inspect, Babel still watches what humanity builds today. And the greatest danger is not technology. It is unity without submission, power without humility, progress without God. If you're inspired by this story and want to hear more like it, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Yomi Inspired, for more uplifting and thought-provoking content. Join me as we dive deeper into the mysteries of the human experience and the divine.